episode of Capital, and that it's going off the air. Linda Hirsch is with us today, and I want to find out from Linda if indeed it's really going off the air for all time. Would you please join me in welcoming back to Pittsburgh today our soap opera expert, Linda Hirsch.
Hello. They're tying up very few storylines.
Why is that?
Because they are hoping that somewhere along the way they will be picked up by a network or by a syndicator. All right. There are a couple of rumors. I would think if they were going to be picked up, they would have been picked up already. But there's always the possibility. Also, for example, the actor who played Geordie on the show, Todd Curtis, is already working on Young and Restless and is assigned to a car, which I was very pleased to see because Todd was in that horrible car crash where half of his face was literally scarred. Right. And I was really, not that it's my job to be worried, but I like him. He's a very nice person. And I was wondering if that accident would have maybe ruined his career, and it's nice to see that it hasn't, that he's been picked up to play a photographer on Young and Restless. A lot of the people are looking for other work. I mean, John Conboy cannot keep them tied to a contract.
Right. If there's no work.
If there's no work, if it's not paying them. Now, there are other shows that are in a little bit of ratings trouble at ABC. Those are half-hour shows. Would they take Capital? They just might, if they could get some of the cast members back. It was good in the ratings, and I've gotten a lot of mail, but he is leaving, I can tell this, Sloan before firing squad. We don't know if she's...
We don't know what's going to happen, huh?
We don't know what's going to happen, and we see all kinds of...
You mean when that goes off the air at 3 o'clock today, we still won't know what has happened to Sloan? We still won't know. But I can tell you in real life, Deborah Maloney, who is married to James Ferrantino, is in Italy doing a movie. So she's okay. So she survived. She survived, yeah. To survive. Now, they are also, we are moving from Capital into a new series called The Bold and the Beautiful. Right. Can you give us a little bit of background on The Bold and the Beautiful? Well, it's the Bill Bell show, and Bill Bell does Young and Restless, and head writer, and he's a producer, and so a lot of characters will be saying the infamous good God man, because everybody on Young and Restless says that at least 3 times this show. Other than that, John McCook, who was Lance, the original Lance, on Young and Restless, is going to be the head of one very important family. Susan Flannery, the original Laura on Days of Our Lives. Lauren Koslow, who played Diane on Young and Restless, has a major role. And your guest later, Stephen Shortridge, who plays a police detective, is on the show today here. And Stephen has done tons of commercials, a show called A Lower Paradise, and Welcome Back, Kotter, when John Travolta left. He became the head sweat hog. The head sexy sweat hog, yeah. And it's about the fashion industry. So it's a bit of Scruples mixed in there. Oh, that's nice. So the John McCook character, Forrester. Mr. Forrester is the head of a very major fashion design house. Some of the names are a bit unusual. We have characters named Thorn and Storm. Yeah, so we have interesting names that Mr. Bell has picked out. It starts off with a character almost being raped on the show, and the search for her would-be rapist. And that, of course, would definitely involve Stephen Shortridge as the detective. And he also dates the girl who was almost raped. Okay, so that gives us a different perspective on him immediately. So, and you're going to see a lot of Bill Bell touches. It's going to be a very glossy soap. Gail Cobe, who was the producer of Guiding Light, and prior to that, Texas, is now the producer of that show, and she has very definite ideas. When Gail Cobe is a producer, it is a one-person show. Bill Bell is protective of his show, so it's going to be interesting to see how well they mesh. So, how well they work together, and of course we see that on the screen with the results. Absolutely. Another person that we know will be James Storm, and James Storm was Neil Fenimore for a short time on Young and Restless, but more interesting was Larry Wallach on One Life to Live, and he was on it for a year and decided he didn't want to do it any longer. A soap opera or that particular show? A soap opera. He was in a terrible fire on the storyline, and his brother, Michael Storm, took over the role. It's real-life brother. That was 18 years ago. He's had the role of Larry Wallach for 18 years. And Michael told me sometimes his brother wondered if he did the right thing. By taking it? By leaving and giving the role to his brother. Okay, just switching that way. Yeah. Linda, now, how long was Capital on the air? 3 years. So it was short. It was actually, I mean, when you think about it, it was real short. It was between 8 and 10 in the ratings at all the time, the highest rated half-hour show. It was a real political football. It was a very expensive show to produce. John Conboy didn't want to give in to certain things. He didn't want a time change. He didn't want... There's a lot of things he wasn't willing to do. Is that why it is going off the air, you think? Yeah, I think largely. It's not the ratings. The ratings were okay. They weren't wonderful, but they weren't horrible. And I think the show's been better in these past 3 weeks than it's been in almost 3 years. It's been a very good show.
John is definitely his own person, again. But you have to know when to be your own person and when to say, well, maybe I'll see it your way.
Yeah, that's true.
Especially with all the cutbacks that are going on. You really have to...
Well, at CBS, we are well aware of cutbacks and,
yes.
and writers and all those kinds of things.
Absolutely.
When networks are saying these days we don't have the money, you start to think, maybe they mean it.
Yeah,
you know?
they're not going to spend it.
Yeah, that's true. We're going to take some time to talk with you folks and take some questions in the studio audience as well. But before we go out, what is happening on one of our favorite soaps, The Guiding Light? What I recently had, we had Johnny Bauer here.
Oh, yeah.
And James Goodwin.
Right.
Terrific guy.
Yes.
And he has gotten himself really involved with this woman, Roxy.
Right.
What's happening with that?
Well, now there's Christine, his former love interest, and her not-so-ex-husband is after her. And because of this, he is having troubles with Roxy. The writers don't have a definite game plan for this show. This is a thing where they hired writers without a storyline. Alan Spalding was supposed to have a daughter come back. They got rid of that. They are changing the storyline daily, and really no one knows what's going on. It's kind of perplexing.
Confusing for us as well.
The character of Indy is leaving.
Oh.
She's leaving this. Mary Kay Adams is leaving.
Oh, my. Well, we're going to take a commercial break, Linda. When we come back, we'll continue to talk about some of the happenings in the soaps. But first, we're going to meet one of the soap's newest stars. Yeah, you're going to like this. Mr. Stephen Shortridge will be up next on Pittsburgh Today.